Gentlemen, it is March and it is madness. The New Orleans Pelicans are on fire as you're joined by Zack, Nagy, and Michael Foret. Another episode of 504 Core Podcast. Pelicans on fire. Trey Murphy's back. He's hitting 10 plus threes. Last couple games playing some really good basketball. Zion, 19 blocks in the last 15 games. Zack, let's start with you, man. Pels, best basketball they're playing right now?
Yeah, I know. I've been keeping it up as much as I can. And I read a lot of stuff about some Willie Green hate, and some people kind of give him some flack and whatnot. But I don't understand that. I feel like those are just people coming out of left field and trying to find a headline and try to find a story. You have the Pelicans playing some of the best basketball that they've played in what, a decade or two. I mean, yeah, like we'll say like we'll go with a decade. But I mean, Zion's playing his best ball. Bi's back in the groove. I think you can't really complain about this team, and you're starting to see a little bit more point Zion. I know that's something that Corey's hit on a bunch, and I know Mike's been saying the exact same thing too, and definitely elaborated on that. But you let Trey Murphy continue to get hot, and I don't know. I can't really see any problems with this team. A couple months ago, we were all just sitting back saying, just wait. Like, we can't stay too happy. We can't do this. We can't do that just because you need the team to stay healthy. But here we are, about to enter mid-March with this team. Yeah, no, knock on wood, with this team kind of eating right now. So I can't complain. I feel really confident in the team, and as long as they can stay healthy, again, knock on wood, not trying to jinx anything, but that's every team. I mean, you stay healthy, you stay hot, and you're going to be in good standing. So I really hope that they can continue getting the ball rolling. What you think, Mike?
Yeah, no, I said it last week. Trey Murphy's the X factor on this team. So if you just look at the horrible games he's had, if he has a horrible game and like two or three other guys don't have like 25 plus, like they're gonna lose. So
let me interrupt you real quick.
Yeah,
just one time. When you talk about Trey Murphy, obviously, like we've seen him like not necessarily be a roller coaster ride. It's been more good than bad, in my opinion. I know he's had a couple of shooting slumps and it hasn't been the prettiest, but and answer this as shortly as you can because I want you to get back on what you were saying about the team. What do you think from a contract perspective Trey Murphy gets? Like do you think he's going to get this insane bag? Or do you think it's going to be the type of thing where he gets a team-friendly deal kind of like we got with Herb Jones?
Not a shot.
What'd you say, Corey?
Not a shot. He's not getting a Herb Jones contract. He's a 6'10" wing that can shoot, play multiple positions, and is long and lengthy and can defend. He's getting a fucking bag. Excuse my language. He's getting.
You think he's a $100 million player?
Yes.
Okay.
Mike disagrees. Mike thinks he is like 120 million, which I agree. But there's not a lot of Trey Murphys out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're the GM, first of all, you got to ask yourself, who am I competing against? So that's number one. And then two, so people were talking about him getting a max, which is ridiculous. Because
I think that's preposterous.
Well, the fact that NBA teams now, or after this new CBA, they're structured to where they have to have, like, if you're going to give maxes, you can really only have 2 max guys per roster. So obviously that's Zion and Bi, unless you wanted to scoot one of those out. But no, offering him a max would be ridiculous. But I think the 20 million mark, I was thinking 15 to 20 before, when he was in the slump, because he was in a slump. He was shooting the ball horrendously. Like, I was actually getting really concerned. That was a couple weeks ago. But yeah, that went on for a while. But yeah, he turned a corner. And, what do you know? As soon as he turns a corner, the team, I'm not going to say they'll come beatable, but like they look really, really good. They look like a completely different team. So I would think they would offer him 5 for 100 just to say you gave him $100 million contract. And I mean, $20 million a year. What is he averaging? Like 14 points a game. So yeah. So like that's within market. What is he? 23 years old, 22 years old. So I mean, yeah, I think they'll offer around 20. We'll see what happens, but it just comes down to the old question: is Gale willing to pay the luxury tax? That's another thing too. They've never done it. They're flirting with it once again. So I know if they want to keep their pick, the Lakers pick, they're going to have to go over the luxury tax to do that. So they'll probably kick the can down the road to 2025, and see what they got. But the team's completely different when he plays well. So when he plays well, they look really, really good. And then you really you have to rely on Zion or Bi to give you 25 plus as well. So they look really good. And then Zion's more engaged as long as he's active. The team.
So going back on the Trey Murphy, bro. I'm sorry, man. Going back to Trey Murphy real quick. Michael Porter Jr. is kind of a player you can kind of compare him to. Long, active, can shoot, right? How much do you think Michael Porter Jr. makes right now?
He's
Well,
on a max.
he's overpaid, but he's well. So that's the thing. Okay, that's a good comparison, sure, but it's well known that he's overpaid. So
Yeah.
so you got to take that and then take, I don't know, 15-20% off the sticker price. So yeah, because when he got the contract, everyone was like, "What the hell?" But
Yeah.
Jokic covers these guys' asses. So I mean, like Aaron Gordon, like he was, I wouldn't say he's a bum, but he didn't live up to his potential. And then he comes to Denver and he looks like a completely different player. And then MPJ,
That's such an interesting comp, though. Like, I don't know. Like, obviously, MPJ's just always had hype surrounding him and stuff.
Dude, there's some games my man can't miss. There's some
Mhm.
my man can't hit crap. Takes some bad shots. He's long, he's lengthy, he's more athletic. He's had 3 back surgeries, right? Defensively, he's been more engaged. He's a solid third player.
He's still a defensive liability, but yeah, you're right. Like, as long as he's a little bit more engaged, like, that's all that matters. But yeah, he's certainly a defensive liability.
It's a good comp, but like it is well known that he's overpaid. So like I don't think Murphy will hit that number, but
I didn't even really think about MPJ when I was thinking about the Trey Murphy deal. But yeah, look, the Pels are doing well. Corey, what you got? What you think?
Yeah, no, just like I said a couple weeks ago, you win the first round series, you avoid the play-in.
Yep.
Right. If this team could win 50 games this year, they can go 11 and 7. They got to go 12 and 7, 11 and 7, or 12 and 7. No, they're 39 and 25. They can go 11 and 7 to end the year. They'll get 50 wins for the second time in franchise history.
What's considered a win, like overall this season?
You win the first. You get out of the first
round.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And avoid the play-in, like Corey said.
But like if you play the Clippers and you lose in Game 7 and it's a tight game in the first round, I'm not going to bitch.
Yeah. You just need to see strides. That's all. You need to see. I'd love to see like these young guys just get in a playoff atmosphere. But yeah, like I said, it comes down is Gail willing to pay that tax in a year or two? So
all right, let's go from positive to negative. All right, the New Orleans Saints. They're stuck in. They're in a mid-off the next 5 years, and it looks like the Falcons are about to be in a better position of the mid-off, signing Captain Kirk Cousins. All right, thoughts on Kirk Cousins going to Atlanta?
I feel like we're all. I don't know if we're all gonna be on the same page as this, but like I look at like Kirk Cousins is one of these players who always puts up pretty good numbers. Like he's a good quarterback. I wouldn't say like a tier 2 quarterback.
He's Dak Prescott. Him and Dak.
I think Dak's a little bit better, but still, like Dak was in the MVP conversation this year. That's the only reason why I give him credit. It's recency bias, Corey. Like that's the only reason why I say that. I really think I don't know. I think you're gonna look back on this Kirk Cousins contract and look at it as like a heist that his agent produced. Like I haven't had the chance to see what the social media stir has been with this, but dude, I really have. I need
$180 million?
Let me. I'm not going to go on Twitter yet. I'm not going to go read about this yet. But my brain tells me that this is going to become one of these contracts that's just an absolute heist. This is a 35, 36-year-old quarterback coming off of an Achilles tear. It's not like he's this dynamic quarterback who runs outside of the pocket. But at the end of the day, you're going to be running a little bit. Like the Falcons' O-line isn't necessarily top tier either. So, you're going to be moving around a little bit. Like, I don't know, man. Like, he's got the weapons. He's got Bijan. He's got Drake London. He's got Kyle Pitts. He's got the damn weapons to be a check down artist if he wants to. But he doesn't have Justin Jefferson to loft the ball up to and say, fuck it, Jettis is down there somewhere. Like, I really think, like, at the end of the day, like, 2 years from now, or excuse my language, I don't know what we put on these. At the end of the day, like, I think you could look back in 2 years from this and be like, holy shit, Kirk Cousins' agent did it again. He heisted another organization. Because I don't know. Like, you're in the NFC South. Yeah, yes. Like you're in the NFC South. You're in a shitty division. He could very well win the division and make the playoffs and make it look better than it actually is. But I don't know. Like, I don't see it. Like, I don't see giving a 35-year-old, 36-year-old quarterback 180 mil off of a damn Achilles tear. Am I wrong? Like, I know science is like advancing, and I know like torn ACLs are like breaking a pinky finger nowadays. But at the end of the day, this is still a goddamn Achilles injury. Like, this is still a quarterback who's a starter. Like, this is your franchise signal caller, and like. I just don't know if I see this being this contract that pans out. Like, the NFC South is buns, but I don't like the deal.
You have the middest quarterbacks in the NFC South. You have Baker Mayfield.
It's a mid-off.
Derek
It's a
Carr.
mid-off. It's awful shit, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, I went on my rampage. Give me you guys just like
Go
thoughts.
ahead, Mike.
I mean, it's an awful deal, so I love it. But no, I mean, what was that Atlanta situation last year? Oh, we don't want to go after Lamar Jackson. We don't want to pay them.
They didn't
that
want to give him
money.
what, 200 mil, 220 mil.
Yeah, so now you're gonna pay, good old Kirk 180.
Captain
Yeah,
Kirk.
but I mean, props to his agent. His agent should be running for the president of the United States at this point. I mean, he made like $400 million total in his career.
Yes,
with
bro.
this contract.
It was like 300 mil going into this deal. I think it was
Yeah.
around that. And then now put this on top of it. Yeah, bro, $500 million for this quarterback that's not mid but not elite. Are you
How
kidding me?
many playoff wins does he have? Like 1 or 2? And against the Saints, of course,
No,
classic.
Next.
No, yeah, but
Stop.
yeah, no, I mean he, yeah,
Rudolph.
kudos to his agent. I think they're just kind of banking on what the Saints were banking on last year, just some kind of leadership, figurehead guy to put at the helm. So, and of course, Carr didn't look anything like that. But anyway, yeah, Kirk, yeah, he's a middle of the tier quarterback, and then much less he's coming off an Achilles and going to get paid $45 million a year. So, go Falcons! I love it.
Yeah. Hey, all right. So you want to talk about Michael Thomas versus Jeff Duncan?
Dude. And I know I've gone first the last 2 times, so I hate to do it again here, but journalist talk right here, like between holy shit. Like, what? That is crazy. And the thing is like, I'd love to be on this, like, wait, what?
CTSPN.
Yeah, like, I'd love to sit here and be on this, like, screw Jeff Duncan train, but at the end of the day, he's a credible source. He's a good journalist. He does his job. He's really good at what he does. Like, I'd love to sit here and kind of stir some controversy and just be like, oh, no, like, good for Michael Thomas. Like, talk your stuff. Like, no, like, Jeff Duncan's good at his job. He's reliable. He's obviously well-known around the state. Like, it's not like he's talking to somebody mid. Like, he's talking to somebody who's kind of behind the scenes, who's pretty good at his job, and he doesn't miss very many times. Like, obviously, every journalist is going to miss every now and then, but I thought that what Michael Thomas was doing was extremely childish and immature. It was funny, and it was good for clicks for Jeff Duncan. Like, congrats to him. Like, put a little bit of cash in his pocket and make his numbers skyrocket. But I don't know, man. That was some shit. That was a good day on Twitter.
Mike, I know you have strong feelings about Michael Thomas.
Well, I mean, like look how that dude started and look how it ended. Like his trajectory early in his career was insane. Like most receptions in an NFL year, like just setting records left and right. And then, one off season he gets hurt, or during a game he gets hurt, and then elects not to get surgery. And next thing you know, like his career just torpedoed. So didn't take the opinion of certain people, and then he let it get to him. And I mean, he's just been a diva the past 3 or 4 years. So, is Jeff Duncan a Saints homer? Absolutely, but like at the same time, you got to give him respect. What is he, a 2-time Pulitzer award winner? So, no, he the more he posted, the more he slandered people, the more just everything, playing this victim card. It was immature. And then people are like, "Oh, Michael Thomas deserves better." It's like, okay. I mean, just look at the last 3 years. So, we paid him what, like $10 million this year? The Saints paid him $10 million, and he barely fucking plays. So, yeah, I honestly just like at this point, like, is he a good player? Yes. Is he the player he used to be? No. Is he worth keeping around? Absolutely not. So it was time.
Is he the greatest? Is he the greatest Saints receiver of all time?
You got to put Colston in that conversation. But yeah, he's top. Yeah, like in the primes, absolutely. But like longevity and consistency, if you don't want to take in the cancer, I don't know if it's cancer, but like a locker room problem, then there's a lot of factors.
He was offensive player of the year, NFL record breaker, Hall of Fame trajectory. If he doesn't get hurt and doesn't have this diva crowd.
I feel like he was always like a little bit like he was like I would say diva, but like he had this like competitive drive that like I hate comparing him to Jordan, but like that Jordan thing where like he was like so competitive that it pissed other people off. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's just sad to see how this ended on recently.
So you have a trade proposal, right, with Marshawn Lattimore, Mike?
Yeah, well, I was thinking like I saw T. Higgins go for trade, like Lattimore for Higgins. Who says no?
I would say no.
I would say no.
I think cornerback's way more valuable than receivers. I think T. Higgins is a solid player, but I would rather get younger. If you're
T.
going to
Higgins is young.
more, and I think
you'd have to throw a little bit in there. And Mike, I'm on the same page as you there. Like from a player, like a 1-and-1, I couldn't do that. But you throw a couple more chips on the table, and I don't know. I don't think that's far fetched at all. I kind of like it.
I think it's harder to find cornerbacks and receivers.
It is, but cornerbacks get washed so fast. Like
It's hard
the amount of times I've seen like really, really elite cornerbacks, like Xavier. Remember Xavier Rhodes? How everyone's like, "Oh, he's the best corner in the league," and then like a year later, like you're like, "This dude's not even top 50."
Did you get the bag from Miami or something?
Yeah, well, like just like dude, cornerbacks get washed so fast. Like I'd rather get rid of a guy. What did Sean Payne say? I'd rather get rid of a guy early than a year early than a year late. So like now, if you're going to trade him, now's the time to do it. And then plus he's had injury issues. I'm not pro trading Lattimore, but everything I've heard, it seems like it's going to happen because I know DA and him had a feud towards the end of the year. So I think, and then you're getting a really good receiver. I don't know if he's an elite receiver, but he's right next to it.
Yeah, he's a tier 1, end of tier 1.
Yeah, so him and Olave, that's perfectly suitable. He's still a young guy. You're gonna have to pay him, but that's another need you can knock off. Like you don't have to worry about in the draft. So you have Shaheed as your 3, A.T. Perry as your 4. So like you're helping Carr out with weapons. And then the Bengals get an amazing cornerback. So I think it's a win-win. Do I think it's gonna happen? No, it's just something I was thinking about.
I think Cooper DeJean is the Saints pick at 14, real quick. Talking about that. My guy. All right, real quick before you go, Zach. Thoughts on the LSU women's basketball versus South Carolina game?
I pushed it back 7-5, so I still have 10 minutes. I'm gonna get in trouble. Dude, that mayhem. I mean, look, again, without doing what I do and provide a monologue here, my best thing to say about that was I'm going to go with the pros first. The pros of it is, look, the women's basketball game is obviously beginning to get a better rap now. You got players like Caitlin Clark. You got people like Angel Reese. You got people popping around making the sport a little bit more relevant than, let's say, it's been in the past. And then you get a brawl. Not a brawl, but you get a fight. You get a skirmish, whatever you want to call it, debacle on Sunday night in the SEC championship game between two powerhouse programs. Dawn Staley's a future Hall of Famer. Kim Mulkey's a Hall of Famer. You have two, rivals in the SEC going at it. And do I think Flage's brother was in the right by jumping on the court like that? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, dude, like people might not like this take, but it's good for the sport. Like it gets a rivalry going in a sport that doesn't really have that many rivalries in the women's basketball game. You have Dawn Staley versus Kim Mulkey. You have Angel Reese versus Cardosa, two dominant bigs. And then obviously Flauge is a rising superstar both on and off the court. It's a good storyline. It's good for clicks. It's a good headline. It's good for the game. My overall thoughts on it, you can't let that happen. Both benches getting ejected. You finish the game 5-on-5 with nobody on the bench for the last 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Like it mayhem ensued. That's the con. But overall, look, man, like it's certainly it's certainly something interesting. It's certainly something interesting.
And I think LSU's playing really well right now heading into the NCAA tournament. Obviously, Michaela wasn't fully healthy, Zach, but I think this was 11 days before they play next is going to be big for them.
Yeah, you get time to get healthy. Bro, you just played. You took South Carolina down to the buzzer. You started Janae Kent. You started a true freshman. It's just, look, Haley Van Lith's starting to get into a rhythm because she's playing off ball again. Obviously, what happened to last year, Poa, is tragic. That's something you never want to see. You give some time for her to get cleared, potentially. It was a concussion, and a bad one at that. But you let this team get healthy and start to get into a groove here. Let Michaela's foot rest a little bit more. They're playing some really good basketball, and you have Kim Mulkey at the helm. It's really exciting because, like you said, they're playing some good ball at the right time, and we'll see. They're going to host the first 2 games of the tournament since they're going to be a top 16 seed. And you go into the Sweet 16 clicking on all cylinders, and I don't know, man. We'll see what happens again. Because if you would have asked me last year if this team would have won a natty, I would have said, hell no. Now, you let them click with 3 quote-unquote All-Americans. I know Haley Van Lith hasn't been playing one all year, but you let them click, and it's going to get scary.
Yep. All right, LSU baseball. Thoughts this week? Well, all right. No. We got to stay on the women's side. LSU softball. What are they, 21-0?
The only undefeated team left in the nation. And I don't really cover softball, but it's hard to not take an interest in it when they're cooking like that. I think Allie Newland is the player that's shining for them right now. Like, they're
Does
cooking.
every left fielder, catcher, leader, clutch. I covered her last year. Dog. Hey, speaking of softball, shout out to UL Raging Cajuns for beating Oklahoma Sooner Boomer. Anything else you want to talk about LSU?
Well, dude, can you believe that? Like, can you believe they snapped Oklahoma's like
Yeah, I know.
70, 71 game win streak? Like, are you kidding me?
Insane.
Mike, what you got? I know Corey and I have been going on. What you got?
Oh no, I don't pay attention to softball or women's basketball that much. So that was a nice little break. I know LSU recruiting just had a big weekend. Bunch of kids came in. You want to expand on that, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it's probably the biggest recruiting weekend that you're going to have till Bayou Splash at the end of July. It was a tremendous weekend for this program. You had over 50 recruits on campus, and it wasn't just your typical guys coming to campus. You had Bryce Underwood flying in for the trip. You had a 5-star receiver and Caleb Cunningham get to town. 5-star cornerback or 5-star wide receiver Jamie French come to town. 4-star running back Harlan Berry. Like, I could just go on, and instead of kind of just rambling on about it, kind of just talk about the significance of the weekend is that you got a lot of coveted prospects in town meshing with each other, bonding, developing relationships. It was a really key weekend for this program. And you had somebody like Jamie French, who's a 4-star on some sites, 5-star on 24/7. So you got a 5-star caliber wide receiver in the same room as Bryce Underwood. And I think that's key. He's a guy who's an Ohio State lean. And now, after an LSU weekend, people who I'm speaking with are saying that LSU's entered the loop in a big way. And I talked to Jamie, and he's scheduled an official visit for May 1st, I believe is what it was. So, you have things trending in the right direction here, and it was a big weekend. LSU holds junior days probably once a month in the spring, and so this was a pretty big one. And now, you're going to see a lot of things trending in the right direction. You got a commitment over the weekend, and 4-star linebacker Charles Ross. Harlan Berry's trending. Micah DeBose is trending. That was a guy who I honestly – huh?
No, I'm just kidding.
I thought Micah DeBose was going to pop this weekend. If you would have asked me on Friday if I thought he was going to commit this weekend, I would have said yes, but he ended up not making the trip in, and he's going to reschedule and come another time. But, it's getting scary on the recruiting trail for this program. They're clicking on all cylinders in the 2025 class, and 2026 is starting to get in the right direction. They brought in the number 2 quarterback in America, Dia Bell. So, look, recruiting's booming in Baton Rouge. That's really all I can say.
You said Harlan Berry. Do you mean James Simon?
Yeah, I meant James Simon, but both of them were in town. James Simon and Harlan Berry were both in town. Obviously, Harlan Berry's the 5-star, number 1 running back in America that's committed, and James Simon's the number 2 running back in Louisiana, 4-star, top 10 running back in America. He's somebody that LSU has on their wish list, and I put in a prediction. I think he's going to commit to LSU in the coming months. This is a guy who has a lot of visits lined up between Bama, LSU, even has LA Tech in the mix. Like, he's just throwing everything. He's got Texas in the mix. He's got Georgia. He's got everybody, in his ear pushing for his signature. But I think when it's all said and done in December, LSU gets pen to paper and gets him and kind of gets that 1-2 punch of Harlan Berry and James Simon for the future.
Did DJ Pickett make the trip or no?
DJ Pickett made his way in town, and it's a pretty big deal to get him in town a second time in the span of a month, really. We'll say 5 weeks. DJ Pickett being the number 1 cornerback in America. And this is a guy who's a Swiss Army knife in the defensive backfield. He was rated as the number 1 safety. Now people have him listed as a number 1 cornerback. So he's a jack of all trades in the secondary and somebody that fits the mold of what Corey Raymond's looking for in a defensive back. He's tall, he's long, he's rangy, he can do it all. So, this is a guy who's really, really at the top of that wish list because you got the number 1 quarterback, you got the number 1 wide receiver, you got the number 1 running back. You're pushing to get the number 1 interior offensive lineman in Micah DeBose. Even though he dropped down to the number 3 interior offensive lineman, he's still a number 1 caliber guy. And now you're sitting here looking to get the number 1 cornerback and DJ Pickett as well. Everything I heard was that the visit went extremely well, and Corey Raymond's really, separating LSU from the other programs. He has a summer of official visits with LSU getting the first crack on June 1st. So it's going to be a really big June for DJ Pickett. But, fast forward to the fall, and I think it's going to be a really, really, really good thing for LSU, I think, because he's going to get in town for a game day visit, I was also told. So you're going to get him in town at least 2 more times here. Once at the beginning of June, 1 in the fall. And he's going to wait to make a decision, but LSU's trending at the right time for one of the top defensive backs in America. So I hope they can kind of get it done.
It sounds
You
like
ever-
they're moving in the right direction. What, Corey?
Feel good about it.
You ever heard about Jackson Blaziken?
Who's that?
Never mind. Okay. Y'all want to do March Madness real quick?
Yeah, hit me. I got 2 minutes.
All right. Who are your final four teams? I
just went on a monologue, so you two talk for a minute because
right.
everybody's just gonna be hearing my voice, and I don't want that. So
Tennessee, Houston. I think UConn's going to lose in the Elite Eight. I think Purdue's going to lose in the Sweet 16. Dude, I really like Creighton. All right. So
You've always liked Creighton.
Creighton, and then a surprise team for my fourth one. Down year in Kansas, but I think Kansas makes a surprise run. And my championship is Houston versus Tennessee, and I got Houston.
When do brackets come out? I know March Madness starts on the 21st.
Our next Sunday. Selection Sunday is the Sunday.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to look at the bracket to see how it plays out. But I kind of like Kentucky this year. I think Calipari finally does it. I mean, we talked about Reed Shepherd and Dillingham last week, but they got some
Dillingham
guys.
just won SEC Sixth Man of the Year.
Yeah, so I like Kentucky. Connect's pretty good on Tennessee. You know, Edie on Purdue. I mean, yeah, I kind of like Star Watch in college basketball, so that's how I kind of make my predictions. But I want to see how I want to see the brackets come out before I make any kind of predictions on that.
It's all going to come down to the bracket, obviously. But if we're kind of like giving like a pre-sign, Houston's different. I mean, Houston's different. I mean, that team is unreal. And I like how Corey said Creighton because I had the chance to watch them this weekend. I'm a big fan of Bailey Shireman, however you pronounce his last name, the transfer. He's fantastic. Trey Alexander's fantastic. Creighton's a great ball team. Like, that's a great club. So I'm intrigued with them. I don't know. I wouldn't put them in my Final Four right now. It depends how the bracket kind of gets cut. But I love Houston. I love what they bring to the table. Tennessee's obviously fantastic. Dalton Connect's the SEC Player of the Year. There's a lot of teams that can make a rise. It's really open this year. But the one dominant team that separates himself from the rest is Houston. Rarely does the number one overall seed win if they've even done
number one last year didn't win.
So like it's just rare. So look, I like Houston. I like their coach. I like what they bring to the table. I like Houston right now. I don't know if I'd pick them to win it all, but I'd certainly say that that's a Final Four team for me. Yeah. Without giving 4 teams, that's kind of like my thing. But I'm gonna bounce, guys. Y'all wrap this up. But like, subscribe, do what I got to do. But dude, really, really good podcast. And God, I want to see Houston make it. But later, fellas.
All right.
Zachary. All right. So, Mike, that's all I got, really.
Yeah. We'll talk draft stuff upcoming weeks. We'll have a draft special episode. So if you're into the NFL draft, look out for that. We're starting getting some guests on soon as well. So, yeah. Did you watch any UFC this weekend or no?
I watched Dustin Poirier.
That's all you watched? I
love Dustin, bro.
Yeah, that was good. A lot of underdogs. I did a UFC pod with my friend. I think we went like 6 for 8 on bets. So
that's good.
Yeah, there was a ton of value. That was like one card like that really stood out to me like value wise. So, yeah, a lot of former champions at plus money. You gotta fucking take it every time. So, but yeah, no, it was a good time. But yeah, so that's all you got. That's all I got. It's pretty much
got what you need. It's March, baby. Stop what you're doing. We're ending this podcast right. You're going to like, subscribe, retweet, share on Facebook, and you're going to share on your Instagram because I need some diehard fans out there for the 504 Core podcast. That's all we got. See you guys next week.